We are live, broadcasting live. This is the Conversation Room 101. Make sure it's only adults in the house. I need your mind to be open, prepared, and relaxed. Welcome to our home. Take your shoes off. We got some rules we need to go over. Be kind. No cursing in the chat. If you want to curse, call in. And no shouting out other channels. That's a no-no. We got one other rule. There is no judging our guests. It will not be permitted. Zero tolerance. And if so, you want to do that, guess what? We got security. And we will escort you out. Because over here, hashtag we don't care. We're going to be one big family. We're going to laugh together sometimes. We're going to cry. But we definitely going to pray. I thank the Lord above for everything. I lift him up and give him the glory. But you guys, right now, we're going to get our popcorn. And then we're going to see what's going on. And let me just park my car. And I'll be in there in a minute. I'll see you real soon.
The Copyright Disclaimer Act. The Copyright Disclaimer Act under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news, reporting, teaching, scholarships, and research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Like, share, subscribe.
Do you want to know? Well, I've been thinking about you, and I think I have to listen, because the sun is up, it's a beautiful day.
We won't stop. We will
as bright
not
as
stop.
the sun. Come, won't you come along? And it feels so right. It's like luck is raining on me. Go and follow your heart. Doesn't matter how far. There is so much love to give. Something's telling me this time. Baby, baby, now
See this?
know.
Now you cannot go.
Baby, baby, gotta go. There is so much love to give. Something's telling me it's right.
Neighbors and the
When you
community
came to me,
compelled to
who are
scour
you?
the area.
It's you, yeah, boy.
Where does the fault lie on you?
Hey family, how's everybody doing? Okay, you guys. Hey, let me see who's in the building. I see Lisa Taylor's in the house. And I thought I seen Amari in here. Amari's in the building. And I see Lisa Taylor. And C6 Banks is in the building. You guys, it is Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? Let me see. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. And it's almost 1 o'clock. So I wanted to come on because we were talking about discernment and this, that, and the other. And I'm going to share something with you guys that I asked my husband a long time ago a question because, because I was like, I guess, just asking questions about ministers and pastors, preachers, deacons, and people that's over the church and bishops and stuff. And I'm like, so I know some of their background, or I know some of their history, or I see them in the street or heard something, And so I asked my husband one time, because there was this one pastor and it's a church I used to go to a long time ago. Actually, where I first got saved at is called New Jerusalem. And that pastor had a problem with like drinking or whatever. And I mean, he wasn't a bad pastor. I mean, he just had that addiction. And sometimes he would preach about it. He would preach about addictions and things of that nature. And like I said, even when he was in his going through whatever he was going through. I knew that, but I still felt compelled to give my life to the Lord. Um, I was actually pregnant with my daughter. Um, but anyway, yes. And the church actually came when I gave birth to both of my children and everything. But what would happen is like he got in so much trouble with drinking. Um, I don't know if he was intoxicated or drinking and driving. I don't know the ins and outs about what happened. Hey, Cody's voice, how are you doing? I see you in the building. And so some people was like, oh, he's a drunk. Oh, he drinks and he has to go get locked up every time after church. He has to go to the jail and he gets out just so he can come in. And they didn't kick him out the church or anything. He still preached, he still prayed for people, he still did things and everything. And I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I didn't feel no way about it because who am I? Like I didn't have a problem drinking and even when he, sometimes when he was praying for me. Okay, I still got to say something to you, Cody, because I don't know why I call you Cody. Nancy called you Cody. Uh, because something came to me right after our conversation, and I know it was a spirit, and I thought, well, I don't know when I'll see you again, but I want to share this. But but that pastor, every time when he would be, laying hands and praying for me or whatever, he would be foaming at the mouth and he'd be spitting and but it never did bother me. It just didn't bother me. So, but I don't know how you guys feel about all of that, but I just felt like I had to ask my husband, was like, how can he get up there and pray and he done did this and did that? He'd been drinking, he just had a problem and they were trying to help him. I see. That's what I think. I think that if he was, if he had to turn himself in every day at a certain time and then he's got to take a test, a UA test or whatever test before he goes in. He has to take a test or whatever, but he could still preach and they didn't kick him out the church or anything. And he till this day, I think he's still over the church. I don't know, but I think the church is a good church. And anyway, my husband was telling me, and I look at what people tell me. I don't care who you are. You could tell me something, and then I'm just gonna wait till it manifests, and then maybe I can use it. Maybe I didn't need it at that time, but I just wanted to know, like how can he preach that and know that he has an addiction or whatever? And my husband said a lot of the time that when they're preaching because they either going through it or went through it themselves. So they know, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of them, they know because they live that lifestyle or they live in that lifestyle or they have some kind of attraction with whatever they're preaching. They have some kind of interaction with what they're preaching about or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, he can identify people that has an addiction, a drinking problem or whatever, because he has one. So he's not only preaching to the church and the people, he's preaching to himself. So he knows right from wrong, and he knows, and so he's preaching to himself or something. So anyway, And Nancy, I'll get to what I need to talk to you about, because right after we had that long conversation, it was like 2.5 hours, and she was like, "Girl, I've been on them knees. I've been on there." And you know what? I believe you. I believe that you have been. But then, and I don't know why this came to me, but I'm just saying it came to me that, like, sometimes, and and I'm just going to be honest with you guys, it could be I needed it because I did it myself. That once we got off the live, and and if Freddie was here or Freddie come on, she'll tell you what I said to her. And what I said to her is, what came to my spirit was, sometimes, you know, prayer is, I mean, it's good, but a lot of times when you're dealing with something that's so heavy, so heavy, and this is what the Spirit had told me. The Spirit told me, it's in your Bible that, you know, sometimes you're going to have to do some fasting. It's like some demons and spirits don't come out just because you pray. They're stronger than you, because you ain't been really walking like righteous, like really walking with the Lord. You've been hitting and missing, and like, I mean, you're weak. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just saying this, and I'm just being honest with you. I literally had to do it myself. And that's why you guys ain't seen me. I literally had to do it myself, because I was like, and it's hard too. I'm going to tell y'all, it's hard, because you be like, okay, I'm not going to eat, and I had to say something that I can probably do, and it was like, people that do it all the time, they can do it for 3 4 5 days. They used to it. I'm not used to it, because I don't do it. So I was like, well, you know what, I'm gonna do this for a day or whatever. I'm just telling y'all. I'm not telling you so that I'm bragging about it. I'm just telling you. And I'm telling you this. Hold on, you guys. I'm sorry, you guys. That was a phone call I was not waiting to get. Everybody want to do things today for some reason. I'm like, okay, but that's okay. That's okay. Anyway, like I was saying, and that probably messed up where I was at too. Like I was somewhere on here, and yeah, it did mess up what I had. I had something waiting for you guys, and let me see if I can find it. Let me see. Hold on. I tell you, the devil is attacking me today. I had something for you guys, and now it is gone because somebody called me on my phone. I'm trying to get it right back. Hold. I have lost it, and I'm trying to find it. Let me go in here and see if I can. Oh, let me see here. Let me put in this. Um, I'm trying to find what I was listening to, so you guys can hear it also. But I'm gonna go up because anyway, we'll listen to it together, you guys. Anyway, we were talking about fasting. Okay, yeah, I know we were talking about fasting, but I had something later, and then I got the call, and they want me to come in to work, and you know. But I found one, and so it's not. Let me see. I'm trying to see if I can find it. I may can find it. I may not can find it. But anyway, there's this guy, and he. Anyway, on the fasting part, I was saying that like I had to do it myself because when you're going through things and you're like, oh, I don't know, I know prayer works. I'm not saying it doesn't work, you guys. I'm just saying, you pray about it, and then you make sure that you're okay. You make sure that you're doing. I mean, if you really want to see some changes, you know, a lot of things got, maybe a stronghold on you or your spirit, or maybe you done talk negative or whatever. So, so you're not as strong as you think you are just because you know some scriptures, or you know where a scripture is at, or you know what the word means. But it may feels like someone's being, when you're trying to tell them something or whatever, you're condemning them or whatever. And you can't condemn them. We're not the judge, but we can decide, and that's what the discernment is for. What we need to do. And then, like I said, if you go in your Bible, it'll tell you that sometimes when you're praying about something, that it may not immediately let loose because it's stronger than your prayer, because your prayer is weak. Not because the prayer is weak, but you're weak. You're weak in the spiritual realm. You know what I'm saying? Some of you guys know what I'm saying, and some of you guys don't. But I'm trying to explain it because, like you could be, fornicating, you could be, cussing, you could be gossiping and not even know that you're gossiping. But and I wish I had that reel that the guy was talking about discernment, because I literally just went through something, you guys. I went through a little situation where a person was, how, like, if you have discernment, I believe I have discernment, okay? And a pastor actually, when my husband and I was going to counseling before we got married, we went to counseling and everything just to make sure we was, evenly yoked, make sure we was right for each other, that this is not going to end in a bad divorce. And, it wasn't just all the fireworks and and all of that going on right now, because, like, hey, he likes me and hey, I like him. And, and he opened up doors and he's paying for stuff, and and he looks at me and it just sends tingles all in my stomach. Or when that goes away, are we still going to be able to love each other no matter what, or through death do us part, through the sickness and health and wealth and money, no money, job, no job, sickness, no sickness, are we still going to stay together? So that's why you go before you get married. But we were going there, and we had other little issues going on where somebody was really liking my husband, and he act like he didn't know it. And I told him, I said, yeah, that girl likes you. And we got to talk about it and everything. And so anyway, my husband didn't see it, and and I was like, yeah, and I don't want to be a part of that. But anyway, to make a long story short, the counselor is a pastor himself, and he told my husband, she has a very high discernment, very, 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 very high. Because actually, what I had told him of some events that had happened, and then they came to pass, where the girl never did say anything to me. She didn't say, hey, I like him. I didn't hear it from nobody, because, when church is out, I'm gone. I just leave, I'm gone. But, anyway, when we got married, and I think I told you guys this, when we got married, we got married at another church, and we didn't get married at the church we was going to. We went and got married at another church, and the weekend after that Sunday, they announced that we had got married in the church that we go to. And the girl was sitting right in front of me. And they was like, such and such wife, stand up. And I'm not going to say my husband's name, but they was like, and so the girl was looking to see who she was like, she was so surprised. She was like, oh, and I was sitting right behind her. I mean, right behind her. And she was like, oh, and so she was just looking all around frantically, just looking all around. Now, remember I told you that when we went to counseling, he was like, that girl ain't nobody liking me, and ain't nobody studying me, and she's delusional. I think she's got a little jealousy going on, and da-da-da-da-da. And I haven't did anything. Only thing I did was I just watched her, and when I was around her, it was a very unease, situation. So I was like, okay. So, I didn't stand up quickly or anything. And he was like, so the pastor was like, could, Pastor such and such wife stand up? We want to greet you. We want everybody to know, brother such and such's wife or whatever. And so then I stood up. I was standing right behind her. She was sitting down. I stood up. And, everybody was clapping and was like, oh, they got married, This woman, she was okay. She was pretty. She wasn't all that, But you could tell she took care of herself, Anyway, she stood up and she ran to the altar and threw herself down at the altar. And everybody just looked like, like, what's this? You know what I'm saying? And he just kind of looked like, because he was in the pulpit, and he kind of looked like, oh my goodness, like, what's finna happen here? And she fell to the ground. She got all the way up to the front, and she had a dress on, and she fell to the ground, and she was just a crying. She was just a crying and crying and crying and crying. Yeah. And so anyway, everybody, they got the praising the Lord, and and the music started going and whatever, and nobody really knew what had just happened because there wasn't no preaching going on when she did that. It was just they announced that we got married, and then when I finally stood up, that's when she took off running to the altar and threw herself down and just covered her face and just started crying. She was just crying. And maybe she thought that was supposed to be her husband. Anyway, so I told our counselor what happened after the situation, and the counselor reaffirmed to my new husband, be careful, because you didn't want to hear when she told you that this woman has eyes for you, you didn't want to hear that. You wanted to say that she has jealousy, and it's not jealousy, it's just she knows because she's connected to you. She knows, she knows she has a high discernment, and that's a good thing and it's a bad thing. And the reason why it's a good thing is because you can see things before, like I'm not never, and I won't say on everything, you guys, but um I'm just not surprised. Okay? I'm not surprised. So, I was in this situation just a couple of weeks ago, and I'm gonna tell you bad where it comes in bad, okay? And that's why I wanted to share that reel with you guys, but I can't find it now. I know who does it, but I can't find that particular reel. I just can't find it. That's crazy. But oh my goodness, that makes me so mad. Hold on, my grandson's here. I'm getting all kind of distractions. I'm getting all kind of distractions. Lord. Hold on, you guys. Okay, my grandson is here, you guys. So, so, so he was told that, and so I had a situation was happening, and I just cannot find that reel. That's making me a little bit upset there. So I'm gonna see if I can find a. So anywho, that's crazy. And I'll just go and see if I can find it. And so anywho, oh, he has so many good things going on in his reels. I'm not saying I agree with everything because I haven't heard everything, but He's got so many good reels that I'm looking to see if I can find it. Okay, maybe I can find it. Almost. Oh, he has so many. Anyway, I will definitely let you guys hear. I will go back up to the top because I liked this something, and I think I liked it, and anyway, let me tell you what he said. I'll just tell you guys because I'm not going to be able to find what was said. She says, tomorrow marks 5 years that Cody was unalive. Not to change the subject, but it just hit me. I know. I know. Man, I wish I had that reel that I'm going to keep trying to look for it because sometimes, I just hate when the devil comes in and then there we go, like I try to okay, let me see here. Uh, uh, oh, brother. Well, I won't be able to find it, but I think this one is close to it. So you guys, I want you guys to listen. Let me turn up my volume.
Pray for clarity. See, this is what a lot of people don't understand about answered prayers. Some of y'all ask God, Lord, show me who's really for me. God, reveal me people's intention. Expose, God, what's hidden. Give me discernment. Protect me from people that mean me no good. You prayed those prayers. And then when God started revealing people, you called it heartbreak. No, what you're experiencing isn't always rejection. Sometimes it's revelation. Because God will answer your prayer for clarity by allowing patterns to surface that you were emotionally overlooking before. See, some of y'all thought God was going to reveal them through thunder and lightning. But most times, God reveals people through inconsistency. distance, behavior, communication patterns, lack of effort, weird energy shifts you pick up, their response to boundaries, their response to accountability, their response to your growth. And see, sometimes the revelation isn't dramatic. It's just a pattern becoming too obvious to ignore anymore. And let's tell the truth, some of y'all been new. You peeped the inconsistency. You saw it. The mixed signals, the selfishness, the manipulation, the emotional unavailability, the fake accountability, the selective effort. But because you were emotionally attached to their potential, you kept overriding your discernment, trying to see the good in somebody God was trying to expose. See, one thing I've learned, people can only hide their patterns for so long before their true nature starts leaking through the cracks. And some of y'all are grieving people God removed because you're only remembering the good moments, the apologies, their potentials, their promises. But discernment remembers the pattern. And see, heartbreak gets dangerous when you romanticize selective moments while ignoring consistent dysfunction. Because some people gave you just enough attention, just enough affection, just enough consistency to keep you emotionally invested while never fully committing to your peace. And that's why discernment can feel painful. See, we don't talk about this a lot because sometimes clarity costs you the fantasy you were emotionally attached to. So some of y'all are not grieving who people actually were. You're grieving who you hope they would become, who they pretended to be, who you imagined them to be, the future you built in your mind. And God had to interrupt the fantasy before it became your future. See, some people didn't leave because you were hard to love. They left because access to you required maturity they didn't possess. And one thing about immature people, they love access, but hate accountability. See, some people like your loyalty, they like your support, your heart, your forgiveness, your consistency, but they never plan on stewarding you correctly. And that's God, or rather, that's why God had to reveal them before deeper commitment happened, before the marriage, before the kids, before the contracts, before the business, the shared property, years invested, the deeper soul ties. And hear me, sometimes God exposing somebody is a miracle. Because some of y'all keep praying, Lord, just send me a sign. And God is like, the pattern is the sign. Are y'all hear me? And I want you to get this. Stop asking God for clarity while ignoring what he already revealed through behavior. People eventually reveal their intentions, their priorities, their emotional maturity, their integrity, their level of discipline, their character. Not through words, but through patterns. And let me help somebody right now. Confusion is not a healthy foundation for connection. Anxiety is not peace. Emotional inconsistency is not depth. Bare minimum effort is not intentional love. See, a healthy connection will not require you to constantly abandon your peace just to maintain access to somebody. And some of y'all don't need closure. You need acceptance. Acceptance that you saw correctly. Acceptance that your discernment wasn't crazy, that the red flags were real, that the inconsistency it mattered, that the manipulation wasn't love, and God was protecting you through exposure the whole time. See, discernment is painful when you're emotionally attached, but it becomes freedom once you stop romanticizing dysfunction. And hear me prophetically, some of y'all thought you lost somebody. But God is saying, no, I revealed them before they could waste more of your life. So stop crying over every closed door like it was punishment. Some doors closed because God saw what you couldn't. He heard conversations you didn't. He knew intentions you weren't aware of. God protected you from a future version of pain. And one thing about discernment, it may break your heart temporarily, but it helps you in the long run. Listen to me. You didn't lose.
Okay. That was not the one that I wanted you guys to hear, but I mean, that was more on relationships, family, relationships and family. I mean, it could be friends and jobs and people that you work with and things of that nature. Because somebody told me to do something that I know was just totally wrong. And I was like, why would that person tell me to do something like that? That could get me in a lot of trouble. And I mean, they were like, yeah, you need to do that. And I was like, I just looked at them like, No, I'm not going to do that. And so anyway, you guys, um, discernment is not a bad thing. It may seem like it's bad. It may seem like it's bad, but in the long run,
Listen to me. One thing I'm learning about God
Hold on.
is He has a way of sending people.
You know, it's crazy how here it is right here. I found it. I found it, you guys. Okay, we're gonna get into it. Here we go. Okay. Let me turn it up. I found it.
Misunderstood for years, even if it's you. People have misunderstood you for some years. See, and it's about people with discernment, because people with discernment don't move like everybody else. They don't need screenshots. They don't need long explanations. They don't need gossip. They don't need 10 people confirming the same thing. And you may ask, why is this? It's because discernment doesn't just hear words, it reads atmospheres. See, some people are listening to your sentences. Meanwhile, discerning people are listening to your spirit. And that's a big difference. See, we notice the hesitation before the answer, the shift when certain names come up, and the fake excitement. We notice the forced support, right? It's real. We notice the compliment that secretly carried competition. See,
Yes.
a discerning person can sit in a room full of smiling faces and still feel tension nobody admitted was there. And that's why some people think discerning individuals are too deep. No, we're not too deep. We just pay attention to details most people would rather ignore. See, we notice when your smile doesn't reach your eyes. Like, we notice when your tone changes around certain people. We notice when someone claps for everybody else, but goes silent when it's our turn. And here's the crazy part. Most discerning people won't even say anything immediately, especially if you're discerning and you're mature.
Right.
It's because discernment is quiet before it's vocal. Remember this. Loud people react. Discerning people observe. They watch patterns. They study behaviors. They read inconsistencies. They compare energies. They discern motives. That's why they can feel something is off before evidence ever appears. And people hate this because they think discernment is judgment. Why are you judging me? Stop judging everybody. No, judgment condemns. Discernment detects. There's a difference. Discernment is when your spirit says something about this doesn't align. Even if the person is smiling, even if the words sound good, even if everybody else is fooled. Because discernment isn't hypnotized by presentation. Some people know how to perform humility, perform loyalty, perform kindness, perform support. But discerning people can feel when something is rehearsed instead of real. And that's why people with discernment usually become selective with access. Not because they're antisocial, right? That's not that's not the point. It's because they understand energy transfers are real. Are you hearing me? Everybody can't sit at your table. Everybody can have your number. Everybody can have emotional access to you, because some people don't come to connect. They come to study you. They come to compete. They come to monitor. They come to compare. And discerning people pick that up real fast. Have you ever met, and I'm thinking about this, have you ever met somebody that immediately felt exhausted around them? You ever felt that? Nothing happened, no argument, no conflict, but it's like your spirit immediately or instantly said, be careful.
Yes.
That's discernment.
Yes.
And the older you get, the more you learn not to ignore that. Because many of us got hurt trying to be nice over what God was trying to show us spiritually. Because sometimes your discernment recognizes danger before your emotions caught up. But because you wanted to give people the benefit of the doubt, you ignored the warning signs. Then later you realize God showed me from the beginning. That's why discerning people move differently now. They don't rush relationships. They don't force friendships. They don't trust charisma too quickly. They don't get intoxicated by potential, because they've learned. They learned that everybody who sounds good isn't good. Right. And here's another thing. People with discernment usually don't expose people loudly. We chill. That's what immature people do. See, all this exposed. No. It's not always that. A mature, discerning person understands not every battle needs an announcement. Not every betrayal needs a speech. Not every fake person deserves confrontation. Because sometimes discernment simply says, adjust access accordingly. See, that's wisdom right there. See, discernment doesn't always argue, it redirects. It doesn't always confront, it distances. It doesn't always expose, it quietly moves different. Look how Jesus did. Look at the life of Christ. Look at what Jesus did. How he dealt with people. He wasn't going around. It wasn't exposed. No. He was real smooth. If you study the scriptures, man, Jesus was smooth. That's why some of the most discerning people you ever meet are peaceful people, not weak, peaceful. There's a difference, because once you truly discern people, you stop trying to force understanding. You'll realize everybody isn't assigned to go with you. Everybody isn't emotionally safe. Everybody isn't spiritually clean. And that's okay. See, immature people think discernment means you hate everybody. Or I'm rah everybody, expose everybody. No. Discernment simply means I recognize what affects my spirit. And people with strong discernment often stay quiet because they know something most people don't. Silence reveals people. Every time. Some people expose themselves when you stop talking, when you stop chasing, when you stop over-explaining, when you stop fixing the energy. Then silence starts revealing intentions. And discerning people understand this deeply. That's why they can sit quietly in a room and learn everything without asking many questions. I'm telling y'all, they watch you. They watch who interrupts, who competes, who seeks validation, who constantly needs attention, who changes when influential people arrive, who acts different depending on the audience that's there. Because behavior talks, energy talks, patterns talk. And the scary part is, discerning people remember everything. Not in a bitter way. We ain't bitter. But in the aware way. We catalog behavior. We study consistency. We know the cycles. That's why when they finally distance themselves, people get shocked. Wait, what happened? Nothing happened suddenly. They were observing quietly the whole time. And here's the thing I need you to understand. The strongest discernment isn't loud suspicion. It's peaceful awareness. Real discernment doesn't make you paranoid. It makes you precise. It teaches you who to trust, who to love from a distance, who to build with, who to pray for. Yeah, who to pray for, and who to keep out of your inner circle. Yes. So if you meet somebody quiet, somebody observant, or somebody who doesn't react emotionally to everything, don't mistake their silence for ignorance. Their smile may not mean they missed it. It may mean they saw everything and simply chose peace over chaos. Because the most dangerous people in the room usually aren't the loud ones. They're the ones who already discern the situation, adjusted accordingly, and move wisely without even needing to announce it. Listen.
Okay, you guys, that is what I wanted you guys to hear. And I wanted to share that with you guys so bad, because that was a word that I wasn't looking for that word. I was actually just going through this new reel, and I found this guy, and he was talking about that. And I was like, I just went through this situation 2 weeks ago, and, I was getting bad advice from, some people around me. And I'm like, no. And they was like, no, it's always you. It's you. And I'm like, it's me. I haven't done anything, like, what are you talking about? Like, the person didn't do anything to me, you guys. The person didn't do anything to me. It's just every time when they would say something, they would, certain words would be more modified. It would be like say, for instance, if someone says, well, I'll give you guys a good example, okay? This lady, this nurse wanted to trade some days for my days, and I wasn't all in game for it or anything, but she wasn't on the schedule at all. And I was like, well, you can have, I don't care. You can have a couple of my days. Like, it's no big deal. I don't want, the boss to get mad at me. Guess what? I was talking to a friend of mine about that, and I was like, hey, KK is asking for some of my days. Should I give them to her? Because I don't want the boss to get mad at me. I don't know what they got going on, but I don't want to be in the middle of it. Somehow, I won't say I know how, you guys. It wasn't that they told. It was because we was in a chat where the boss could see the text. And so now the boss is mad at me because you done took all this girl's hours, and I just don't want to get between that. Now, the thing about that is I had already had some feelings like what's going on, just little things, everybody say that you're my favorite. And I'm like, no, I don't really know you that well, no, or whatever. But, and then it's like, tell me who's doing this. And I need some names. I need some times. And I'm like, hey, I don't want to lie. I don't know. And you're not going to tell me. I'm like, whoa, hold up. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just, well, and so, like I said, my discernment kicks in, and I'm more like, man, this is not going to end well, because that person wants me to be a snitch, and that person wants me to, cover up some things, like maybe I'll take the heat for something that doesn't happen or whatever. And I'm not trying to do all of that, so my discernment kicks in, and I just say, you can either stay there and fight with them, or you can go your way or whatever, but at the end of the day, you have to make a decision with, even though that they haven't said anything to you directly, by just using certain words. Like, why would Kay ask you for hours when I haven't talked to her all day, but now she's messing with your livelihood? I'm like, okay, hold on now. How did we get to this? How is she messing with my livelihood? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my goodness, here we go. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to have a discernment to read between the lines. That person didn't directly say, hey, if you do this, if you give her some of your hours, I'm gonna be on your tail. Or if we already got some things that you won't do, or you're not. It's almost like, actually, it's almost like somebody wants to control you or something of that nature, and if you don't do what they want you to do, then you're gonna have problems. I felt like that. You know what I'm saying? And my mother taught me very well when I was young, when I was a youngster. My mother told me, she says, because I was popular. I'm just telling you guys, I was popular in school.
Your batteries are almost dead.
Okay, I've got more batteries. So, she said, if you be with the girls that are popular and they're talking about somebody, and you're with them, sooner or later, they're going to attack you. And, when your parents tell you something of that nature, you be like, nah, I'm in there. I wear the clothes, because I had this one girl that was older than me. She was my oldest brother's age, about 5, 6 years older than me. And she would give me all her hand-me-downs. All her hand-me-downs was good. They looked brand new. She had new clothes like every day. I don't think I seen her ever wear the same clothes or whatever. So she would give me her clothes because me and her fit the same thing, and she called me her little sister. And probably the only reason why I was popular, you guys, it wasn't because I was smart. It wasn't that. It was because I had all these brothers, and the girls liked all my brothers. So they liked one of them. You know, there was one for each one, but they wanted to be friends with me because of my brothers. So that's why I became popular. I know why. It wasn't because, like I said, my clothes was hand-me-downs. We were poor and everything. But I knew why they wanted to be friends with me and why I was popular, because I had all the brothers in the world. Anyway, you guys, going back to what we was talking about, discernment, I was telling you guys what happened, after, my husband and I got married. The lady ran up to the altar, threw herself down, started booing, crying, and everybody thought she had the Holy Ghost or the Spirit or whatever. And I knew why she was. She was crying because for some reason she thought, and it could have been something he said or did before we got married or while we were dating, or I don't know. I asked him about it. He said he didn't know her. He didn't know her from a can of paint. While we was in counseling, he said he didn't know her from a can of paint. And then when that happened, and I told, and then we went back to our counselor, and I told the counselor, I was like, yeah, this is what happened at church. And the pastor was like, now that you guys are married and everything, you need to take your wife a little bit more seriously when she says, hey, this nobody have to come to talk to her or say anything. She's gonna know because she's connected with you that some young lady likes you, or and that could get you. You know what I'm saying? Like he was saying, but also I wanted to share with you guys something that if you guys, some of you guys do have discernment, and just like he was saying, the counselor said, it could be good and it could be bad. I don't believe it could be bad, but it can feel bad at times because there's no evidence that this person, like, nobody came to me and said, hey, she likes him, or no phone calls, no notes or anything, you know. And he explained it very, very well. He explained it very, very well. Um, just the pattern, the behavior, when she comes in, where she sits at, she got to have a clear view of him, not the leading pastor, not the pastor that's over the whole church, but my husband, and she doesn't see a ring on his finger, and you know and you know I don't know. It's just one time I did try to sit on the same pew that she was sitting at. This is before we got married, and she didn't want me to sit next to her. She didn't know. This was maybe my second day at the church, and she didn't do anything. She just put something between us. And I was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Just like, oh, okay. But then when my husband got up to preach, she was clapping a little bit, a lot, and amen. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's what I'm saying. It's like people don't use that as a tool, their discernment. And I'm just saying, You have it for a reason. When you have a discernment about something, don't let people tell you that, you're wrong about what you feel. It don't have to be somebody that said something or that nature. I mean, because yes, energies do pass. Now, this one lady, she was telling me a story about how this woman that lived upstairs from her, she came to her house and she was trying to tell her she had cancer. So she was telling her how the kids was being rude and how they were looking at her, how she looked, and her kids go to private school and da 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 and all this other stuff. And all right, Miss Nancy, I'm headed out to a cleaning job. I'll be on the next time. All right, have a great evening. And so she was thinking that something was weird, but she didn't want to get into it with the lady, and the lady was like agitating her. And so she just kept telling the lady, okay, okay, I'll talk to my daughter, I'll talk to my kids or whatever. But she said she hurried up and closed the door, and she felt different when the lady left. Like she felt kind of angry. And so she was saying that, sometimes people will sometimes bring to you the spirit of anger. And even though that it may not be something to be angry about, but they will come to you, and before you get off the phone or before you leave work, or they're going to make sure you're angry. You're going to say something, or you're going to do something you don't even know you did anything. You can be like, no, that's not. And they believe all in their heart, no, that's what you meant, or that's what you said, or you said it. And and then you be like trying to explain yourself, like, no, that's not what I meant. Or how did you get, 2 plus 2 is not 7. That's not the equation there. And they'd be like, no. And I've came to a point in my life where I just stop explaining, because you're gonna think whatever you think. I don't know why, but you think whatever you think. It definitely, I know what I meant. So you're not gonna make me, like, apologize for something that I don't know what you talking about. I can't, because, well, I'm sorry you feel the way you feel, but you know what I'm saying? Like, but what I normally do is, like, I just left the situation, and I didn't say anything. I just was like, I'm out. I don't want to have to explain myself. I don't think I should have to explain myself when I feel like my peace is gone. Like, if my peace is gone, I don't want to argue. I don't want to sit there and explain over and over and over, or what word did I say wrong, or did it, come off wrong, or whatever. I just feel like, I am who I am. And if I felt like if a person was trying to get me under their control some kind of way, and it'd be okay if it was a good control, like, you know what I'm saying. I don't think anybody should be under anybody's control. But if it was like if you was trying to teach me my ABCs and I wanted to learn my ABCs, okay, okay, I'm all ears, I'm ready. But if you're gonna, get mad because I give somebody some hours to work, or you get mad at me because I won't tell you something that you want me to just tell some things that I don't even know all the details, and I just told you I don't know all the details. I don't know if that could be all the way true or not, but you know, and then you get mad like, no, tell me. Yeah, um, you know, it just doesn't set well with me. So, I did question, not question discernment. I questioned, like, the counselor said it could be good, it could be bad. And so the bad part about the situation is, and I'm just being honest with you guys, sometimes when you have the discernment, you need to realize something. Like, you'll move on something and it hasn't presented itself. And everybody's like, well, why you don't want to be friends with that person? Or why you not talking to that person? Or why'd you quit that job? Or why you not dating that person anymore? And you really can't say anything because, you know, it hasn't presented itself. You just know it's not for you. Like, say for instance, I'll give you guys a really good example. I can go to work and it feels like, oh my goodness, why do I feel agitated and I don't even want to go in, and I don't want to talk to this person. I don't want to talk to that person because my peace has been disturbed. Like, I would go in and do my work, whether you like me or you don't like me. We've got to get this job done. Whoop de whoop de whoop. That's good. But you know, when I go to work and I'm in the parking lot and I'm like, man, I don't feel like going in, like, what's going on here? Like, I don't want to face this person. Have I done anything to them? No. Have they done anything to me? No. But I just don't want to be around that person, like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of weird. It's kind of crazy. It's hard to explain discernment, but it's like spirit. You don't need no evidence, you just know. You know what I'm saying? And then, but the thing about discernment, when you got a choice of what you want to do. You want to be like, if you like, let's talk about dating, because I'm not in the dating, so you guys know it's not nothing to do with dating. But let's just use as an example. You meet this guy and you got this discernment that he's not the one. um he might say something. He may say something or act a certain way or don't call when like, you're going to know, and this is for the ones that's single. You're going to know if he's the one to marry. You're going to know. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm gonna tell you guys something. I'm gonna get off of here because I don't want to tell you guys my everything that goes on in my life. I don't, but sometimes I have to give you some really good examples. But like, if this is what I do, and something that he said, and by the way, his name is Fred, you guys. You can find him on Instagram. But something he said, and he said, like, when you're paying attention, you don't go and say, well, you didn't call me at 9 o'clock. You got mad because I ordered the shrimp and not the salad. Or you can tell by people's whole expressions, their face, their walk, how they talk, when you're around them to other people, how they move. You could tell a lot. And but it's got to make sense to you, you know. And when you know. Now, if you know that this is not the person that you're supposed to be with or be around or work for or engage in a friendship or whatever, and you just keep giving the person a chance over here and a chance over there, and then when something happened, only person you can really be mad at is yourself. You guys understand what I'm saying? Because like he said, you it's going to manifest because it's a spirit on them, and you should be able to detect that. You should be able to detect that spirit. Now, you may not see it coming. Like when they walk in the room, you be like, hey, and they smelling, and they be like, hey, Shantae, how you doing? And you like, hey, and all of this other stuff. Then they get in the corner, Shantae's with Kim, and Shantae and Kim is talking, and they look at you, and you like, you already know. You already you're looking at them, and then they turn their face, and then they say something, and you're looking at them, and they looking down. They won't even look at you. They looking at each other, and every time they say something, they turn their head or something. They talking about you. I mean, work on your discernment, and live a peaceful life. That's all I wanted to talk to you guys about, just discernment, because I learned something, and it just made me feel good. Not that I didn't know. I did, because I did ask the Lord, and that's the weird thing, you guys. He said that. He said, you would ask the Lord for clarity. And I did. I asked the Lord for clarity. And next thing I know, I had clarity. I was like, boy, I sure did ask. And there it is. It was not something I wanted to really know. And, I mean, and did you really want to know the clarity? Because I got it. I got the clarity. And when I got the clarity, yeah, I had to move around there, So, yeah. Anyway, you guys, I'm going to get off of here. Hopefully, you guys got some knowledge out of that, and it can help you. I think sometimes, testimonies are good, but, like sometimes when you're going through it, it's not always best, to just, speak on things that you're dealing with. All right, you guys, have a good evening, you guys, and be safe. I don't know if I'll be on here Friday. I just made an appointment to go into work, but she said 9. Oh Lord. All right, you guys, be good, be safe, and be nice to each other.